They were walking to their cars, and they were followed, and they kept trying to get away from these people that were following them. Well, it resulted in one of those bottles of urine being thrown at one of my guys. The reprisal and the self-defense was immediate. Police came, asked the first party, which was the Proud Boys, "Are you guys okay?" "Yeah, thank you for asking." They asked a member of Antifa that threw the urine bottle, which was on the floor, if he was okay, and he said, "F off, pigs." He left. That was during the peak of the 2018 midterm election when we were, jobs, not mobs, were trending because our jobs number were through the roof and Antifa and BLM were mobbing the streets. The Governor Cuomo came up and decided to make a PR campaign against mobs, not jobs, and arrest 9 individuals for defending themselves. He didn't focus on anybody else. These gentlemen, these brave men, took it to trial here in New York City. The prosecutor's office and law enforcement did not know who these victims are. They never identified these victims because the victims disappeared. They went through trial with a jury not of their peers, and they were sentenced to 4 years in prison for defending themselves. I want to take a time machine to September 9th of 2016, where all of this started. Hillary Clinton called us, everybody in this room, a basket of deplorables. And although we took it for ourselves, and we put it on t-shirts, we put it on hats, they meant it. They believed that we were deplorable human beings. After that, they started silencing us on social media because they lost an election. They're like, well, we gotta quiet these people down. Well, that didn't work. Then they went for financial platforms, PayPal, Cash App. That didn't work because we're not here for the money. Matter of fact, if you're in this business, people call people grifters all the time. If you're in this business, this isn't a business, okay? You could probably make more money in an office job. We do this for passion. So when they took us off financial platforms, they saw that didn't work because it wasn't about money for us. Then in 2019, what did they do? They locked us in our homes. They shut our businesses down. They said to keep away, 6 foot distancing. We couldn't see our loved ones that went to the hospital. Some of them passed away and we never got to see them again. That didn't work. We had reopen campaigns across the country. Florida was one of the first states to reopen completely, successfully. Then they allowed riots and mayhem to hit the streets in the summer of love of 2020. That's what they called it. You guys remember fiery but peaceful? As the buildings burned behind them, they allowed that to happen. None of that worked. So what did they have to do? The ultimate way to silence the American people. They stole an election. And then they have the audacity to say that the reason that people went into the Capitol was because President Trump was lying about the election and pointed him there. I didn't go to D.C. because President Trump pointed me there. I was going to D.C. because of everything that happened before that. Deplorable, broke, silenced, our businesses destroyed. I didn't get to see my uncle when he passed away because of COVID. And then that didn't work. So what did they do? They put us in chains. I did 3 years in solitary confinement. And I don't even think that's the ultimate goal. When the president decided to get up and run again and fight, like this hat says, they saw a huge problem. The president at that very moment had already gone through 2 failed impeachments, 4 criminal indictments. What was next? Because they wanted to put him in prison. They wanted to take him off the ballot. The lawfare continued. Then they tried to assassinate him. Twice. The hat I'm wearing right now has a blood spatter right there to represent how close our country came to chaos. I'm Cuban. My family immigrated here legally. Got to say that before ICE shows up. Legally in the 60s, after the Castro regime, and I'll quote Castro himself, something I rarely do. He said, "My movement isn't about communism. My movement is not about socialism. We're going to create a republic." That's what he said. It took less than 3 months after he took power to side with the Soviets and instill, I'd say, the most oppressive government on the Western Hemisphere. So what I'm seeing, what I saw during those times, and before that, we saw that with Obama, but I do want to focus, is the same thing, the same reason that my grandfather tells me all the time. He's like, man, what did I flee for? You know, it's happening here. It's happening here in drips. It didn't come at the snap of a finger like it did in Cuba. But it's coming in drips, and it's been coming in drips for a very long time. And the only thing that stopped it is this new movement of deplorables, the MAGA movement. I think the most important word in weaponization watch is the word watch. It means vigilance. It means looking forward and seeing the obstacles we have in our way. We have less than 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, to turn this ship around. And the weaponization is the biggest threat to our constitutional republic since we overthrew the king in 1776, and we created probably the most prosperous and freedom-loving people that the world's ever known. But vigilance is key because we need to be able to stop the weaponization. I will tell you that in a very short amount of time, President Trump is not going to be president. And we have a lot of work to do, and I really, really got to give a shout out and my appreciation to Cynthia for putting this together. She's basically Nick Fury putting the Avengers together for this project. And weaponization, it's not defense. It's not just defense, it's offense. And sitting in the back there is my civil attorney, Thomas. Round of applause for Thomas. We currently took the offensive in these January 6 cases, and we became the first January 6ers to sue the federal government for the weaponization that occurred during the Biden administration. It's not Enrique Tarrio versus the United States. It's Enrique Tarrio versus the Biden regime and what they did. Because what they did to my family and what they did to the families and the 1,600 other individuals was atrocious. They made an example out of us, and we need to make an example out of them. And I truly believe that with Weaponization Watch, it will be the forefront, the tip of the spear to end the weaponization of the federal government. Thank you very much, guys.